Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden forces that shape, well, everything around us. From the local coffee shop on your corner to the global tech giants in your pocket, we're talking about the engine that drives all progress.
You know, it's a great question, and it really gets to the heart of how progress actually happens. That journey from a single small idea to a massive global impact is exactly what we're going to break down. It all starts with a few key concepts that I promise, once you get them, you'll start seeing them everywhere.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the spark itself. That's innovation. Then we'll look at how that spark gets fanned into a flame inside a big company. That's entrepreneurship. And then we'll see how it can become a wildfire when someone builds a whole new venture from scratch, which is entrepreneurship. Finally, we'll tie it all together. Okay, let's dive right in. At the very core of all change, all progress, is one simple but incredibly powerful thing: innovation. This is the starting point for absolutely everything else. So what is innovation really? Well, put simply, it's about creating something new. But here's the key: new doesn't have to mean inventing a time machine or something totally out there. It could be a new product, sure, but it could also just be a smarter way to do an old task or even just a major improvement on something that already exists. It's all about fresh thinking.
And you see this stuff happening right in your own community. Take a company like Flipdish. They gave local restaurants the power to take on the huge delivery apps. Or think about the Dublin Bike Scheme. Such a simple but brilliant idea that completely changed how people get around the city. That right there is innovation in action.
And on a national level, it gets even more interesting. You've got companies like Keenan down in Carlow applying really high-tech solutions to an age-old industry like farming. And you even have governments getting in on the act with programs like innovation vouchers that literally pair up businesses with brilliant minds at universities to cook up the next big thing.
And then, globally, the examples are just legendary. I mean, Apple didn't invent the phone, right? But they innovated the experience of using one so profoundly that they completely changed the world. And it's not always about tech. The McDonald's Happy Meal, that was just a genius stroke of marketing innovation, creating a whole new product just by bundling a meal with a toy. Okay, so innovation is the spark. But how does that spark actually catch fire? Well, sometimes it happens inside a company that's already up and running. And that's where this idea of intrapreneurship comes in. Just think of it like being an entrepreneur on the inside. An intrapreneur is basically an employee who spots a cool opportunity and uses the company's existing resources, its money, its people, its brand, to build something new from within.
You know, some of the most famous products we use every single day started exactly this way. Gmail, that was born because Google had this famous 20% time policy where engineers could work on their own passion projects. The Sony PlayStation only exists because one really persistent engineer, Ken Kutaragi, just refused to let the idea die inside the company. Even Ryanair's super efficient model is fueled by empowering its own employees to find new ways to save costs.
But what if you have an idea that's so big, so different, that it just can't fit inside an existing company? Well, that's when you take the ultimate leap of faith. That's when you build something entirely new from the ground up. And this is entrepreneurship. This is the classic story we all know, right? An entrepreneur is someone who sees a gap in the market, a problem that needs solving, and just decides, you know what, I'm going to build a company to fix that. They take on all the risk, financial and personal, but if they succeed, they also get all of the rewards. And the stories are just so inspiring. You've got social enterprises like Food Cloud, founded to tackle the huge problems of food waste and hunger at the same time. You've got the Irish Collison brothers, who started Stripe with a simple idea to make online payments easier and built a global financial powerhouse. And of course, you have visionaries like Elon Musk, who founded Tesla to literally change the entire auto industry.
Okay, so this slide is really useful because it just lays out the key differences so clearly. An intrapreneur, they have a safety net, right? They're using the company's resources, so their personal risk is pretty low. But the entrepreneur, they're out there on their own, finding their own resources, taking on huge personal and financial risks. The big trade-off? The rewards for an intrapreneur are shared, a salary, maybe a bonus, while the entrepreneur gets to keep all the profits.
So we have our key parts: the innovative spark and the intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs who act like pistons in an engine. When they work together, they create this incredibly powerful engine of progress. So now, let's look at exactly what that engine powers. Okay, at the most basic level, this engine powers business. Because in a world that is constantly changing, a company that stands still is actually a company that's moving backward. New ideas aren't a luxury, they are the absolute fuel for survival and growth.
You see, an innovative business creates this amazing virtuous cycle. It gets a competitive edge because it's meeting what customers want, which in turn drives growth. And inside the company, this whole mindset makes things more efficient and creates a culture that attracts and keeps the best and brightest people.
Now, let's zoom out a bit. This engine doesn't just power individual companies, it fuels the entire economy. A country that encourages innovation and new businesses is a country that thrives. It creates jobs and it attracts investment from all over the world.
And let me tell you, governments are placing massive bets on this engine. In Ireland, for instance, the Disruptive Technologies Innovation Fund isn't just some policy document. It's a €500 million investment. A number that big sends a really clear signal. Groundbreaking ideas are seen as the absolute key to the future.
And when a country gets this right, it creates that powerful economic cycle. Homegrown innovation drives growth and creates great jobs. Then that skilled workforce attracts huge foreign investment from companies we all know, building a global reputation as a knowledge economy, a place where the future is literally being built.
But look, the impact goes way beyond the balance sheets of companies and countries. This stuff directly shapes our society and ultimately your life.
This is how we solve our biggest problems, from climate change to healthcare. It's what improves our daily lives with smarter, better services. And for you personally, it's what creates new and exciting career paths by building up the most essential skills you can have for the future: creativity and the ability to solve problems.
So let's just end with this thought. Every single thing we've talked about today, from Gmail to Tesla, it all started as just a simple idea, a small spark in someone's mind. The next world-changing solution could honestly come from anywhere. The only real question is, what problem do you see that needs solving?